It's Sunday, May 31st, and I'm rolling west on the Blue Ridge Parkway towards the Pisgah Inn, milepost 408. It had been well over a week since I was able to break away and venture back up here. The past week had been riddled with rain. The sky is heavy and overcast, the kind of gray that softens the ridgelines and makes the mountains feel a little closer. Up here on the parkway, the temperature is sitting at 56 degrees. Cool enough to feel through the riding jacket, but not cold enough to take the edge off the ride. After a brief stop to stretch and hydrate at the store, I climbed back into the saddle and headed west once again. The road leaves the Pisgah Inn behind. It begins doing what the Blue Ridge Parkway does best, bending gently through high country forest, opening now and then to long views across the folds of western North Carolina. There's no rush out here, just the sound of the engine, the steady rhythm of the tires, and the quiet pull of the mountains ahead. The trees are full and green now, late spring leaning towards summer, but at this elevation the air still has a mountain chill. The overlooks come and go, some wide open, others tucked into the clouds and mist. On a clear day, these views stretch forever. Today they feel more private, muted, moody, and still. Heading west, the parkway climbs and curves towards one of the most recognizable high points in this stretch, Devil's Courthouse. It rises from the ridge like a dark shoulder of stone, wrapped in balsams and weather. The name sounds ominous, and maybe that's part of the appeal. There is something ancient about this place: rock, wind, spruce, and cloud, all layered together above 5,000 feet. On a motorcycle, you don't just pass through scenery like this, you feel it. The temperature changes in the shaded cuts. The smell of balsam moves across the road. Every bend has its own texture. A little camber, a little shadow, and a little surprise waiting just beyond the line of sight. Past Devil's Courthouse, the parkway keeps tracing the spine of the mountains. The road feels suspended between valleys, drifting through tunnels of green and brief windows of sky. The overcast weather takes the glare away and leaves behind something calmer, almost cinematic. This is the kind of ride where speed is not the point. The reward is in the flow, setting up for the next curve, easing through it, standing the bike back up, and letting the mountain road carry you forward. Eventually, I leave the parkway and turn onto Route 215. This is where the character of the ride changes. Where the parkway is graceful and measured, 215 feels more intimate, more rugged, more alive under the tires. It drops away from the high ridges towards Balsam Grove, twisting through thick forests and following the shape of the land more closely. The bends tighten, the trees close in. The road begins to feel less like a scenic route and more like a conversation with the mountain. This is where the title of the ride begins to make sense. Baldface, balsams, and bends. The bald faces of exposed rock, the balsams clinging to the cool upper slopes, and the bends, endless, patient and perfect, carrying me down from the parkway toward the valley below. By the time Route 215 points toward Balsam Grove, the ride has shifted from high elevation sweepers to a quieter back road rhythm. There are houses tucked into the hollows, creeks running beside the pavement, and that familiar feeling of coming down out of the clouds and back into civilization. But part of me stays up there, back near Pisgah, back under the gray May sky, back on that cool ribbon of road where Devil's Courthouse rises from the ridge and the Blue Ridge Parkway bends west through the Balsams. You ease out of Balsam Grove, that little pocket of a community tucked into the folds of Pisgah National Forest. The pavement is still a bit dark from last night's drizzle, and the air has that damp, earthy smell, rhododendron, wet leaves, and cold river water. The sky is a soft gray blanket, but the greens around you are electric. May in the mountains does that. Everything looks freshly washed. The road immediately settles into its rhythm. Tight curves, tree tunnels, and the steady whisper of the North Fork of the French Broad River running beside you. As you continue south, the temperature dips a touch, maybe 57 or 58, just enough to make you grateful for your jacket's liner. The mist clings to the top of the trees, and every now and then you ride through a pocket of fog that beads up on your visor. This stretch of 215 feels like a secret road. No big overlooks, no crowds, just you, the bike, and the forest breathing around you. The curves tighten as the road descends towards Rosman, dropping you a few hundred feet through a series of S-curves and sweepers that feel tailor-made just for motorcycles. You can hear the river before you see it, rushing louder after spring rains, tumbling over boulders that look like they've been there since the dawn of time. You are riding through history. This whole corridor was once logging country. The road roughly follows old timber routes that fed the mills in Rosman. A century ago, this valley would have echoed with the clatter of narrow-gauge rail lines and the grind of sawmills. Now, it's just the soft hum of your engine and the occasional call of the wood thrush. You're riding through the Forest Heritage Scenic Byway, 76 miles of history tied to the birth of American forestry. Even if you don't see the interpretive signs on this short stretch, you feel the age of the place. On a cool weekday morning, you might not see another vehicle for miles. As you get closer to Rosman, the forest slowly loosens its grip. The curves stretch out, the canopy thins, and the mist begins to lift. The temperature nudges up a degree or two as the elevation drops. Nearing the end, you roll out of the woods and meet US 64 at the southern end of 215. A quiet, unassuming finish to a ride that feels like slipping through the back door of the mountains. Rosman sits just ahead, a small town with deep roots in logging in the headwaters of the French Broad River. But for now, you're just savoring that cool May air and the way the forest seems to wrap around you the whole way down. Some rides are about the miles, some are about the destinations. This one is about the atmosphere. The hush of an overcast Sunday, the chill of 56-degree mountain air, and the steady, unhurried pleasure of following the curves wherever they lead. As always, thanks for watching. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you out there in America on two wheels.